don't even. Welcome, Saints, to Black Table Read. It has been
Listen,
it's been an afternoon.
quite a day,
So
a whole moment.
and it wouldn't be a live show without some difficulties. So yeah, so that's the thing.
So forgive us for the CP time. We promise that we aim to be on one accord, on time.
Yeah,
Here for
maybe by week 3, we'll
yeah.
be actually on time. So this is why we need a producer at some point. We're gonna need somebody to hold us.
Oh,
we
know it's gonna happen. It's gonna get us there.
But welcome to Black Table Read. We got a lovely show for you guys. But first, our first segment that we will always start with will be the Black Top. So the Black Top is where we talk about all things news, sports, politics. We'll try to stay away from politics as much as possible. Current events, but we're gonna give you everything to you. The first thing we kind of want to talk about right quick is, unfortunately, we had a Black actor legend passed away here in Atlanta, which was Mr. Thomas Jefferson Byrd. He was found, I believe it was last week?
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, last week he was found pronounced dead in somebody's yard here in Atlanta. Most of you may know him from a lot of Spike Lee movies. I think the first time I might have seen him personally was in Set It Off. So yeah, so that's been something, because nobody really has, at least from my understanding, has any idea of what happened. Even the neighbors. So if you are familiar with him in the Atlanta theater area, please keep the Byrd family in your prayers. Yeah, just kind of a weird thing. Yeah. So Lydia, what else we got?
So we are young artists. We are both actors, vocalists. We in these streets when it comes to the arts. And COVID has been such a bummer for our industry, simply because we thrive off live, entertainment. We are the entertainers for the folks that come to see us. So with that being said, COVID has definitely taken that and jumbled it up and said, well, everybody's on pause, especially y'all. And when you have things like Broadway going dark until next summer, I think I saw, movie theaters closing down, May 2021. Yeah, so all of that has definitely impacted our industry. Even so, for things like Disney has looked to move all of their resources and properties to their streaming services. And then if you even see, like, case in point, Hamilton, even though it was taped some time ago, they are just like, well, they had, I think, a plan to release it. It was supposed to be later this year, right? And then they were like, well, COVID's going on, so we're just gonna push it through for the people.
Yeah.
But it's just things like that where you have something that you can't control, and COVID has definitely been that thing. It's been like a good old warp zone, and it's just like caused havoc on all of us. But yeah, that's our COVID, and that's exactly what we're just gonna leave it, right?
That's our COVID.
Because COVID's like that. COVID's like that girlfriend or that boyfriend that it's just like, why? Like, how? Like, where'd you even come from? Like that random friend that just wanted to invite themselves into the party, and it's just like, nobody invited you. Like, how'd you get here? Like, how did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. Like Deborah Cox said it in the word. So
speaking of which, so Lydia, why haven't I seen a challenge from you yet, from the Deborah Cox challenge?
As the children used to say on Vine, may it rest in technology peace. I ain't gonna do it. I don't when it comes to like those challenges, some of them is like, okay. But
he said,
why?
No,
I mean, for some folk, it's just like they do it just because, I mean, we in the house. I'm in the house board, and you know what I'm saying? What's that little thing? In the house board,
I
don't
know
board.
what these
Boom,
kids are doing nowadays.
Right, and it's like all the little TikTok things. Look, I sound old, but it's just like, I'm gonna leave that to them. Y'all
leave
go
it
ahead.
to the
Y'all sing y'all lungs out. Y'all hit those notes for the people.
Some of them ain't hitting no notes. Some of them hitting air.
And that's my song too. Like I when that song first came out, I was just like, yes, Debbie, come through. And
now people just
but
ruining
that's gonna be. I'm gonna leave that in karaoke. I'm not about to jump on. And
after a couple tequila shots, we can take it over. No, but it's crazy because COVID is like it's so my girlfriend's been watching. She finally finished it. Black Mirror. So I was watching like a couple Black Mirror episodes, and COVID is just like a terrible Black Mirror episode. Like no end in sight.
Literally. Right.
People.
It's almost like Lost. Like you literally don't know. Like, is this ever gonna end?
It's just like
right.
I just my biggest thing is I just get tired because of wearing the mask. That's probably like my biggest thing with COVID is the mask part.
Look,
so I know it's helpful.
Like
I wear it at every job that I work right now. And it's like, I'm pretty sure I spend 12 hours a day since March
with the
mask. In mask. And I'm like, I'd like to be able to smile and do other things.
Or just like buying, like for me, just buying some new lipstick and wanting to show it, because it's fall too, like all the nice little like cool, calm autumn colors that come in, and you basically just like, hey, so I got that new Auburn on. It's really good. It's just like I can't tell, and it's like, oh right, like that's the worst. You put on some like a new layer of lipstick or some gloss or some
my
balm
thing is the chapstick. I'll put the chapstick on. I'll be at work, and then I'll put the mask right back on.
Right. Well, like, listen, I'll keep my lip balm because you're basically like breathing in, and your lips gonna go dry. You need all that moisture. Okay.
No, my worst feeling, I think, is that. What else we got? Oh, sports related, because we got to talk about sports.
You talked
the Lakers
about
won.
Because I really. Oh, the Lakers did win. Yeah, they did.
She said, I'm a Laker fan by default.
What default? Because because of gotta show support. Well, you have to, but you don't want to get chewed out.
Because I want to come home at a certain point.
I mean, hey, get how you live, but that's not my ministry. I'm not about to support a team that I don't care for.
She said that's not mine. No, but I will admit I watched, because by the time we got back to watch, it was halftime. Which was my bedtime, and I definitely fell asleep on third quarter. I was knocked out, and then I woke up to see them win, and then I went to bed. I said it was time. So I didn't get to. I didn't get to live in it that long.
Yeah, and see, I was just in Miami, so I was around nothing but Heat fans, and they had so much hope. It was so sad to see, when you and the Heat, they're a good team, they got Jimmy Butler, they got, basically all the folks that were traded on from the Celtics some time ago. They got a good squad. And for them to go through the track that they did, beating the number one team in the East and then knocking off everybody else, it literally was like, okay, so the Heat's doing something. Yeah. I care nothing for Lebanon James at all. And the fact that
not Lebanon
just still
James.
Has to get respect. That's what I said. So
not Lebanon James.
The man he was hungry. Like watching him when he was in Cleveland the first few
Yeah.
years, leaving to go to Miami, having that hunger then because he was just like, yo, trying to win a ring. He won what, 2 there with D-Wade. You leave there, you go back home, and he basically was by himself. He goes through that whole case there, finally gets a ring there, and he was like, all right, boom, I didn't cross that off my list.
I'm still surprised
I
he
don't know
stuck
why
around
people.
after that after he got the ring in Cleveland, because they didn't really have
Oh yeah,
nobody after that.
oh yeah. I mean, safety net. But then for him to go to LA, of course, you if he were to lose this series, because I think that first year that he was there, he was hurt. So it's almost like, how dare you if you feel like you about to come back healthy and you not get us a ring
Yeah,
against
I don't think he
against your former team,
I I think they would have burned the city down, or at least not burned the city down. They would
LA.
have had some
I
words
mean,
had they
no,
lost that
like I
series.
mean, Danny Green was getting death threats. Him and his
We don't.
fiance were
Oh,
getting death threats because the man missed the basketball shot. Like, you won't do that. You know what?
yeah.
People be taking it to the extreme. You know, I feel it.
See,
You got your love for your teams, but
Atlanta ain't
going
never
after
had
people's
nothing like that.
lives.
Atlanta's never
No,
had
y'all
anything
haven't.
like that because which brings us to our next
Y'all
thing.
haven't.
The Falcons
You handle
finally
it.
fired. See, I'm not a Falcons fan. I don't give two damn about the Falcons. The Hawks I can deal with. But yeah, I don't really care about the Falcons. But they finally fired Dan Quinn and the GM.
Yeah.
Now if we could just get Matt Ryan out. That's about the biggest thing at this point. If we can just get Matt Ryan out.
Yeah. Well, you just say you're not a fan. Because there's so many people that are like, fire the coach, keep the quarterback, and it's just like,
no.
I mean, Matty Ice, he's
no, Matty is melted. I'm sorry. Matty Ice
is melted.
Matty is a puddle at this point.
I like it. I love it. And you know what? Like, we're gonna learn real quick. We're gonna learn real quick, y'all, that you see how neither one of us have any friends for the Dodgers. I have nothing at all for any of Atlanta's teams. I've been here for a while now. Jarius, you're from here. So it's like, for you to not even be a fan, it's like, that's saying something. But y'all gonna learn real quick. I care nothing about any Falcons, Hawks, Braves, the
He doesn't care about the birds.
The Pee-wee teams, nothing. Look, I'll see a hawk fly. I'd rather support the hawk flying above in Kennesaw than before you know what I'm saying. I go to the Atlanta Hawks games to see the other team. That's how I feel.
Yo, that's real. That is real.
Yeah.
I definitely will go to a Hawks game just to see the other team.
See the other team. Yeah.
Like, Vern will hit me up and be like, hey, I got tickets pre-COVID. We'll be like, hey, I got tickets to go to such and such game. And my first question always is, who they play? Who we playing? You
have to ask that.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't waste my time.
I'm not about to waste my money going to see somebody, you know.
No.
Like, it's the I don't know, it's the Washington Wizards. Definitely.
Oh, hell no. I definitely don't see no damn Wizards. No.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, no. All right, and the last thing that we got, I don't know if anybody's seen this. Personally, I can't recall. So you know how Hallmark like has like the spectacular, I can say white, right? I just had to ask. I can say white, right? Okay. I just want to make sure. Look, because we
it's black table read. You can't say nothing but the black word. No, yeah.
Oh, black table read. No, but I can't recall any like black spectacle type Christmas movie that was anything along the lines of like the Santa Claus or Jingle, like, you know, those big like magic Santa Claus based type movies. Well, we're finally getting one, and I'm excited. It's called Jingle Jangle. It's gonna be on Netflix.
I love it.
It's supposed to drop November 13th. I mean, they
Okay.
got Anika Noni Rose, Felicia Rashad, Forrest Whitaker, Keegan Michael Key as
They
the
got
villain.
Claire.
Like you got like Mama Felicia. Like I already know
Right.
it's gonna be good, but the
Right.
director is David E. Talbert, who is also the director of Almost Christmas,
Mhm.
First Sunday. Like just that alone, I was like, all right, I'm in. And then if you haven't already, you got to go watch the trailer because I mean, it's the bomb.
It's so good.
So I'm
It
excited.
definitely gets you ready for Christmas.
We just because we just don't have anything like that. Like I mean, we
Right.
have like Almost Christmas. What's another thing that is like that?
Almost you got this Christmas, you
This
got
Christmas.
what's another one that's like surrounded around Christmas? I mean, this Christmas was kind of on the spectacle side because they wanted that whole, Christmas miracle type of feel,
But yeah,
bringing the
but
family together
but I
type of
feel like
feeling,
this
but
is this is
not
like
not
the
nothing Hallmark. Yeah.
no, like this is like magic, the magic of Christmas type situation going
Yeah.
on. Like
I'm so for it.
I'm excited. Like we need we
I'm
need
for it.
more. We need more. We need more. We need more. All right, you want to
Right.
jump into this table read or you want to belabor it anymore?
I'm ready.
Oh,
This is what the folks are
we
here
got
for.
the best man holiday. I forgot about that, by the way. But yeah, so let's
Oh
jump into.
yeah.
I think hopefully we don't rustle no feathers, but if we do, you'll be all right. Drink some water. Uh,
Right.
so so one thing that and Lydia was discussing a while back. Uh, so we're all for supporting our Black artists, whether you're from the States or across the pond. We Black everything around here. I mean, I'm wearing black. I'm Black. Black table read. We Black everything.
I have
But
on Afro
one
pick.
thing, yeah, but one thing that we've noticed is that a lot of movies decide to, instead of casting, African Americans in roles that depict African Americans, we instead get African American roles going to British Black actors. And so that's always been a question. So I pose it to Lydia first. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, it immediately had me thinking of what we put as our title: to support or not to support. That
That
is the question.
question.
Because, like you just said, if it's one of us, it's all of us. That's how you want to feel. I mean, look at Black Panther. Having a Black comic book star, that whole spectacle of Black Panther and everything that it brought. It literally had us as Black folks, like, literally everywhere you saw, it was like, boom, we there.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to roles that are given here in the States, I mean, if you don't understand the industry now, this is what you should know, is that when you are valued first as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
you would think that your worth would be more than your skin color. And sometimes folks in casting don't see that or haven't seen that for quite some time. And it's sad because when you have folks who are going to school for this, I'm talking getting the degree that says this is what I really want to do. When you put your best foot, your voice forward, you literally go and you get all the training, and you walk into the room and they're like, okay, thank you. And you don't get it. It's like, okay, cool. As artists, we are told no all the time. All the time. But when you get told no and see that a person that came from 15 hours away by plane got your job, it feels like, well, dang, what did I not do? But then you look at it and you're just like, you don't want to overanalyze the audition. You don't want to overanalyze what you didn't do, what you did, all of that. But at the same time, they're one of us. So it's like, well, they're Black. So support them. But then you also still think like, well, dang, like it's also, I could have did the same thing, especially when you have them playing civil rights leaders. When you have them playing, let's see, you had David Oyelowo play Martin Luther King. You had Chiwetel Ejiofor playing in 12 Years a Slave. You had John Boyega playing in Star Wars. And by no means is Star Wars like, just saying like, oh, you can't have a British person or somebody. But it's like Star Wars is an American classic. So it's almost just like you have a bunch of Black folks that definitely could have, who grown up watching it from when their parents watched it, when their people's watched, So it's not to the point where we're totally oblivious to the fact of like, oh, well, these jobs shouldn't go to us. Like, why can't it go to them? It's still just saying like, you don't want to hate about it, but you don't want to fester too much in it, because it's like, well, dang, I still lost a job. But you still want to give praise because they get in their bag. So it's like, it's a gray area for sure.
It definitely is one of those, because I mean, a movie that I saw, what was it? Black and Blue, which came out last year. I was so excited because I was like, oh, dope. Finally we get a movie that kind of talks about like the police brutality, and it comes from an angle of a Black female police officer. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be great. Then I went to go see it. And it was like, oh, okay. So me being me, I'm critiquing the movie the whole time. Like up and down, I'm already critiquing it. And I go and I look it up and I'm like, okay, let's see, who was the writer? That was my first thing. I went, who wrote this? Because that was the first giveaway for me. Was like, I just need to see who wrote this. And it's by a dude named Peter A. Doling, who is a British screenwriter and film director. Now, the problem with that is what the movie depicts is set in New Orleans, and you're talking about a population that's predominantly Black, and you're writing about the ghettos and all this. And it was just something about the way like the scenes were shot and the dialogue. And I was like, yeah, this didn't come from anybody who, in my opinion, spent any type of time in New Orleans in it. But then I went a little bit deeper. I said, okay, who's leading? And I was like, well, I know Tyrese. Naomi Harris, I definitely know from her in Bond films, but also her in the Pirates of the Caribbean series. I didn't know she was Mandela. Yeah, I didn't know she was British. And I was like, oh, that explains so much. Because again, the way the scenes were shot, the dialogue, it was just like, none of y'all understand the actual struggle that happens. Now, not to take it away or discount anything, because I'm pretty sure she experiences her own set of prejudice as a British Black actress over across the pond and in the States as well. But it was just one of those things, like, there are certain little things that being an African American male in America that I understand in certain roles. That's just like the guy in the lead in Snowfall and the lead in All American, both British actors. And I was just like, y'all didn't have nobody. Like nobody in any type of arena to like fit in that role. I find that hard to.
Which I found out that have you seen both seasons for All American?
Yeah, I burned through them in like a week.
Okay. The actor that plays the one that came and basically was the father's, like, he wasn't his stepson, but you remember he dated the mom and he came and took the quarterback slot. Okay. He was actually up for Spencer. He was up for the lead role.
Wow.
And yeah, and he's American, but I believe he's Haitian, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But I think he's Haitian American. But the thing is that I was listening to a podcast with Jamel Hill, and she was talking to Spencer Pasinger, who the story is based off of. And she asked him, and she was just like, so did you have, like, you know, any control on basically who plays you? And he was like, no, because he's a producer for other things. Like, I think he has his own company and everything.
Yeah.
But he was like, just on that front, he really didn't have any control. He had seen a couple of the audition videos and, you know, saw, I forget his name now, who plays Spencer. But he basically saw his video and was like, heck, is good. Like, he's really, really good. Not even knowing that he was British either, which is another thing that I think makes it tough on us, because, you know, we're watching a movie, like you say, you're into it and you're just like, dang, that was good. And then you look it up and it's just like, United Kingdom. What?
All right.
Like, dang. So, and then it becomes like a game, like, which one is British? And you literally just like point out which one is from here, which one's from across the pond. But yeah, just finding that out, it was like, okay, you know, wasn't totally out of.
Because at the end of the day, it's all love for whether you on this side or the pond, but it's I think it goes deeper because it mostly begs the question, who's about the casting, who's in control of what. If a story is about me and I don't have a certain amount of input because I know what it means to like the people back home, like Spencer. If I was him, I would have definitely been in the faces of the people, like, hey, like, this is what I need to see. This is what I think the community that I come from sees, because it makes a difference. Because it's the relatability of the person. So me being born and raised from Atlanta, I can go into different areas throughout Atlanta to schools and events and talk about my time in the West End, or talk about, you know, being in the arts and basically being brought into playing the harp to stay out of gang and the streets and that kind of stuff growing up. Like, and you put that on the screen and have kids see that know the places that I'm talking about, it becomes one of those like light bulbs go off. It's like, we came from the same place. Like, we understand the same. Whereas they don't know, most people in Atlanta, you know, they may not know anybody over in the UK or what that experience is like, so they can't relate. So it's really one of those things, like, it puts everything into perspective. Like, I've always tried to fashion myself as a Black actor and a musician and everything as an example of, you too can make something out of yourself no matter where you come from, especially if you're from my neighborhood growing up. So I definitely think, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Well, before we hopped on, what I was thinking was, it was interesting when since Chadwick Boseman has been dead, you know, there's been a lot of you know, documentaries and interviews and articles about him and his contribution as an actor, but more specifically during his time with Black Panther. And just the whole, so I don't know who was, so one thing that I've kind of pieced together, they didn't outwardly say it, but just kind of what they kind of did say without saying it. So it seemed like Chad wasn't their first pick going into casting Black Panther. So I'm, who was before him? I'm just like, I wonder. But you know, it wasn't until they saw, I think it was 42, that they took a
Mm-hmm.
second look at him. And then
Mm-hmm.
to go into uh Black Panther and just looking at the roster with them, it was nice to see just a whole ensemble by just that whole ensemble was amazing. And it was kind of funny because you only had like
Yeah.
two white people and one of them got killed within the first like 90 minutes of the movie. which
Well, at least they
never
made it to
happens.
90 minutes, because a lot of times
Look,
we
which
only make it
never
past the
happens.
first 5 minutes. So, you know.
But the fact that Marvel took an African American man from Howard, you know, from the States to lead a blockbuster like that,
Yeah.
like that is particularly unheard of.
Yeah.
Because,
Because imagine if they didn't.
yeah,
Imagine if it
like
was
I can
like,
only imagine who they would get. Like, I don't even know who you get at that point. Like, you know,
I mean, you know how
and
folks
so
always try to clue in Idris Elba and everything?
it just don't need to be in
Because for the
everything.
longest time, listen, for the longest time after, what was it? Was it Daddy's Little Girls?
It
It was
might have
one
been.
film that he did for the whatever film he did before that. I think it was one film that he did where he had used his accent, but it was real faint. And I remember
Yeah.
listening to him, because usually, like, that's the thing, me just like, listening to people all the time, and then like going through diction and stuff, doing voiceover. I always like listen and just like, oh, that was a little twang. Where are they from? And a little just like, oh, they probably got people from wherever.
Gotta
I was
lean
like,
in.
what was that? Yeah, and it's just like, what are you saying? He was just like,
Wait a
what?
minute.
And like usually from the UK, like they won't end off, like they usually like drop off at the end of words. So then he said something like going down the street, and then somebody called his name, and he was like, what? And I was like, oh, what was that? The man's from the UK. So I'm just like, yo, what? Because Idris Elba can play any, you know what I'm saying? He literally can make it seem like he's from the boogie down Bronx. He can make it seem like he's straight up from LA, and you would never even know until you just look it up. And that's really how it is for most of these actors, because it was the same thing for John Boyega. I thought he was just full on Nigerian. I didn't know he was from the UK, but then you got a lot of folks that most likely they live in the UK. They got some African heritage. So that part too, and that part, I'm definitely not going to be like, well, no, I shouldn't go to the African American, because that's like me going against myself. My father's from Ghana, so if it's definitely a Ghanaian actor coming over here, I don't want to make it seem like I'm like, well, what about
rep your people, girl? Rep your people.
It's like you said. But it literally just goes back to say, like, the feeling of feeling like it's not enough, and it's that part just kind of drowns it out, because when you're here and like you said, you're here living in this space for which it is being portrayed in this film, in this TV show, on this web series, on this animated series, whatever it is. And it's like you have all these people coming in the room, and it's just like, no. Oh, I like what they did. And a lot of times it may have nothing to do with the fact of where they're from. They literally are just that good, and they're just good for the job, which goes into all roles. It really doesn't matter. But I guess it's just been such a norm for us as Black artists to see, like, well, dang, here they go again. They gave it to another British artist, and it's like, it kind of makes it makes you not want to feel tainted at heart.
Yeah, it's still a hard blow. It's still a hard blow, because it's like, like I said, it's that one thing. Like for me, I feel like a show like Snowfall, the few clips and stuff that I did, said there's a certain thing about being from something like LA and South Central, and being from the West End area, places that you see certain things like that. You have you have a different type of awareness that you bring. Acting very much is make believe, but you take little substitutions and slivers of yourself into that character. And that's
Right.
what makes it believable. It's like I take my experiences or substitute experiences that I kind of know that feed into that. But I don't think I want a British actor to tell, my biopic in like 30 years. They'd have to be hella convincing. But it's just one of those things. Like I definitely want to make sure that the people who will see it will be represented properly, and
Yeah.
they'll go,
Yeah.
okay, I understand now. I understand where you came from. I understand that we are actually more the same than I thought. Like I tell people, I'm not really that much different from uh how I was when I grew up in the city. The only thing about me is I sing in foreign languages and I don't drink Kool-Aid no more.
Because
That's
you
about
trained for this.
I don't drink juice as much, but
Right.
that's something that we can talk about later. But one thing that I've told a lot of white producers and whatnot when they try to push down a lot of up and coming or trying to be up and coming Black artists is the only difference between certain people is training. That's it.
Right.
That's the
Right.
only thing. And accessibility. That's another thing. So
Because they
training and
train.
accessibility, because people train, they just don't have certain access to certain things. I had access to, when I was playing the harp, my teacher was the principal harpist for Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. And then I had
You played the harp?
yeah, I get
What?
yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. I haven't touched the harp in so long. But yeah,
Let me
so I mean,
find
I
out. Let me
had
find a
that,
staircase and have you playing real quick.
you know. But my mom exposed me to Broadway, and I listened to opera in my house and classical music.
Yeah.
And I have a bachelor's and a master's in vocal performance. But
Yeah.
I'm at my core no different than my friends that I grew up and went to middle school and elementary school with. It's just our experiences and our
Yeah.
exposure, and that's the only thing. And that's one
Yeah.
thing that when I go to talk to artists or kids rather who may consider, I just tell them about the exposure and the experience, and then I offer to help them because
Yeah.
I don't see many other people to see us and want us
Yeah.
doing that. But that's my, my water.
Well, I was gonna say with like I remember seeing something with John Boyega
Mm-hmm.
about when he first got the role for Star Wars, and he did an independent film about some kids. Oh, I don't want to get the storyline wrong, but basically it was depicting kids in the scums and the I guess like their version of like a hood to an extent, but it basically was just like about life in London, because how I've learned it and having friends from there, it's not all about the Queen and the Buckingham Palace. Like there's definitely like a back end to London, as there is most cities here in the US. You usually had the nice side of town and you had the not so nice side of town. And it's like parts like that in the UK that are definitely present, which goes into saying, if somebody would be like, well, if you say that you don't want them to depict depict a storyline that isn't theirs because they don't have the experience, and it's like, well, yeah, but at the same time, they may have had an experience from wherever they're from, whether it be Nottingham or Yorkshire or London or wherever, because they probably did live it to an extent. The only thing about it is certain storylines that could use an American are depicted by British actors or actors from the Caribbean. Because I actually was talking with some folks this past weekend, some were Jamaican, and they, my friend who actually was on a contract with, she's from an island called San Andres. It's they have citizenship through Colombia, but they're their own island. But long story short, they they come here to the US and have their understanding of the American dream, and from, understanding the racism and everything that goes on here in the States to an extent, but a part of it, they don't understand it because they come from countries that have also fought off, countries that had their own type of independence, that and come from countries that had their own kind of experience and their own kind of strife and good and bad and everything like that. So it's also just to say, if you got people who basically going for an audition to depict a person from, say, South Philly, and you got somebody that's probably from South Philly, a person from New York, a person from Atlanta, and then a person from London. You don't want to say, well, don't pick the person that's not from here, because they don't even know what South Philly's like. Sure. A lot of times they just read the script that daggone good, and the producer and the casting people and the directors are just like, for what I want to pay and for what I want to depict, that's what I want. Yeah. So it's like, to play devil's advocate, you don't want to make it seem like we don't want them to have the job, because at the same time, it's like, okay, we would rather it go to somebody that's going to make the role believable than to just go to any Tom, John, and Harry and be like, so they really just going to pick this person and act like somebody else couldn't have done it?
Act like they don't see us.
Right, because, God forbid we feel blinded by the country from which we were born.
Yeah. No. Everybody background definitely should be represented. Especially during climate. There's enough just having to settle and discard who you are when you go into certain spaces already. Right. And we definitely don't want that. But like I said, I'm on my Issa Rae. I'm rooting for everybody black.
That's it.
I'm rooting for everybody black.
We got to. It's enough folks that are against us. Yeah. And sometimes it be your own people, and sometimes it's not. And a lot of times you got people that, they're just like, well, we're still going to be supportive of, we're still having that question of just why. And we're just like, look, at the end of it, they getting theirs. So kudos to them.
And as long as the representation is being seen, because people are watching, people are peeping, especially the next generation. So there has to be something for them to go for and strive towards. And so we just have to keep flooding the mainstreams with our stuff. I mean, even this in itself is something that's like, hopefully somebody that's watching will go, well, I want to start a podcast, or I want to talk to my friends, elevate the conversation. That's why I'm not okay with us. I'm talking about us.
Us beautiful people?
Just putting out anything sometimes. I like to challenge people that if you're going to put out something, let it be something that elevates the conversation, that elevates us to more than what we can be. And we'll talk about that, that one little tidbit in like 3 weeks that we talk about that one?
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be jam-packed with it, but y'all. That's the read,
That's the table read discussion. So the moral of the story is we gonna support because we root for everybody black.
Because we root for everybody, listen. Because we got to. So that brings us to our last one, which we like to call the BTR.
Yeah.
Which is not only about Black Table Read, but we're putting it as breathe, think, and release. So this is your time to clue in what we also like to call Black Talk Time. Send us your questions, your comments about the things that we talked about tonight, even the things we talked about in the Black Talk, the things that we talked about in the read, in the table read. And we want to see and hear from you guys. So just send all of your questions, and it's okay. And even if you want to be anonymous, that's totally fine. If you don't, Would love to see who you are and be like, thank you, person, for giving your question. But you can send your questions or concerns or any comments to blacktableread@gmail.com. Blacktableread@gmail.com. Exactly how it's spelled.
Yeah. And then if you're on Facebook right now, because I can see everybody as we're on live. So if there's something that you want to comment about right now, you can type a little something in the chat and we'll read it before we sign off. But like Lydia said, this is Black Talk Time. And then within that is BTR, Breathe, Think, Release. So Lydia, I think you had something for that this week
Yes.
for BTR.
So for this week's BTR, think of it as that last section from Jerry Springer, if you can remember, when he finally got his act together at the end of his show. After all the craziness and all the mess and muck that he
after
put
all the
folks
little
through.
people that he let run rampant on his show.
Throwing chairs and whatnot, but that's not what we're doing. We have couth and class as we're going to pertain it. But yeah, so BTR, Breathe, Think, Release. For our topic, it was about supporting or not supporting. Listen, when you have anybody that can be in, say, your spot, what you see as something that you have professed for yourself. I know for us as artists, we go in for auditions and we see this part. We literally see it for us and we don't get it. But that's just life. You're going to have moments where you literally want all the things that you aspire for, all the things that you pray for, all the things that you write down and try to manifest, or even things that you talk about with your friends and family. You're just like, yo, I'm going out for this thing. Or even if it's in a completely different industry, when you see something for you and you don't get it. And the thing is, it goes to someone that obviously was right for the job. It's not to say that you were wrong for it. You just didn't have enough, which is okay. It is totally fine to have that no, because then that no leads you to a yes. So in this time, breathe about all the things that you have manifested and professed, and just think about, okay, I didn't get it because that person did. And that's fine. And just release and let it go. Because a lot of times, certain projects or certain jobs or trips or friends, so many things that can come into play with this are definitely, up for reach. And you just became short-sighted, or it just wasn't there. It just wasn't in the cards for you. And that's completely okay. So that is your BTR moments. And we are looking forward to your questions. Mr. Clyde, do you have anything else for the people?
I was about to start singing. I was going to say, you better let it go. Think I better let it go. Let it go.
No.
No, I ain't gonna bore y'all with this singing. This is a little frog. It's late. I need some tea.
Right. It's late. It is 8:30.
No. I'm excited. This definitely was episode 1, and this is just the beginning. Like I said, next week and every week is gonna be something that you want to tune into. We'll of course play devil's advocate every once in a while, but these next couple weeks we just coming at you hot and hot. We just coming at you. So any questions or comments, or you want to even give us maybe a topic suggestion, just go to blacktableread@gmail.com. If there's something you want us to read on air, you can type anonymous in the subject line and let us know what's what. But I'm excited. I think this was great. Next time we're gonna be on time. We ain't gonna be coming back from the travels.
Look.
Lane Southwest. Lydia, I just want you to know,
whoever didn't do their job with that plane, but
I'm gonna just let you know.
The thing is, the Lord
Delta would never.
And that's exactly what I said. I literally had the bougiest moment. I got off the plane. I was just like, Delta would never do this, but you know what? You can't even
Delta
put
would
them in
you
the
put
middle category box. Sometimes
Delta would have
they
had
have
you
their
on the
moments.
first flight out. You would have been at home
Okay.
with your own driver, your luggage already at the door.
They take those sky miles and they're just like, oh, madam, you missed your flight. Let me get you one for the next one out. Oh my gosh, there's no seats available.
Let me get you on the next
for you. Here we go.
right.
Well, you're getting out of there. That's the point. That's the
Got
point.
Bob the
But
Builder
I'm
in there
I'm glad.
making chairs.
Right. Right. Building it for you right then and there with the cotton and the cushion and everything. But no, made it in time. Apologies for the lateness. We're Black at the end of the day, so we gonna have to take some time. But
yeah.
We're
Hopefully y'all ate dinner. Hopefully y'all ate dinner. In the midst of
That's
us
right.
being late.
Right.
All right.
But hopefully we'll get to the point where we can do this. Well, I mean, we'll still do it live, but then we'll be in the same place. And hopefully get it done that way too. So we'll get it done.
Stay tuned. Y'all want to donate to get us there sooner? We'll take it. All right, family. Well, we're gonna get out of here. I gotta go try and make myself meal prep because I'm so tired.
You better go cook.
I don't want to tonight. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to 2 jobs tomorrow. I just want to sleep. Look, why I can't open my fridge for meals and not ingredients?
You better cook because you got folks that don't even have 2 rice grains to rub together.
Well, I got some in their kitchen if they want it.
Can have that. I want the
rice. All right, family. Y'all be safe out there. Y'all take it easy. See y'all soon.
Much love, y'all.